We'll call the meeting to order. It is 5:02. We'll do roll call. We'll start with George Banzer, Councillor George Banzer. Here. Councillor Peter Scheer.
Here.
Director of Municipal Services, Chris Kingston. Here. Director of Finance, Corley Ross. CAO, Tyler Pulley. Executive Assistant, Taylor Robinson. Councillor John Ross. I'm here. I'm the Deputy Warden, Matthew Ross. The Warden will probably be here shortly. She got hung up at work. We pause to seek for guidance. Next, we will go to the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
There's one addition, dark letter of support.
Or business items?
It is, yeah.
I get approval?
Well, I move the adoption of the agenda as amended.
Seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Is there any disclosure of conflicts of interest or on any of the issues? Hearing none, there are no presentations tonight. Can I get approval of the minutes of January 13th, 2026? If everybody's had a chance to read them over.
I move to approve the minutes of January 13th, 2026.
Seconded.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next is the CAO report. We have joint council meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. No meeting next week on February 17th. Council meeting on February 24th. Bylaw and policy on March 3rd. Committee of the whole on March 10th at 5 p.m. No meeting on March 17th. March 24th, we'll have council at 5 p.m. and there will be no meeting on March 31st. And on April 7th, 3 p.m., we will have bylaw and policy.
And as you guys know, the reason that one's early is because we do the grants to organization as well as a number of other budget items.
Yeah. You have a chance to look at the CAO update. Questions on any of the department reports? We've got Director of Finance report, Director of Municipal Services, Building Department, Dispatch, Robert Hersey, CMARC, Renewable Energy, Terry Thibodeau. Hearing no questions, can we get approval of the department reports?
I'll move approval of the CAO and department reports as presented.
Seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Dangerous and safety, we don't have any of that tonight. And the warden's here.
Warden's getting tired.
I'll have the business agents for you.
I went back.
Oh, I left my coat out because I got to have your cell number.
I figured you did want it left there. You mean, I never realized it was gone until I got back. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Oh, we really are.
Yes,
Okay. The assessment report, please.
That's me. So you'll see here, you can see it. I know it's kind of small. Just to give you a forecast of what it's going to look like to begin our budget process. We have our residential assessments up here. We are seeing an 8.02 increase this year. And just to kind of give you a comparison, last year we were at 5.53. We're seeing a few more capped properties. I'm sure, again, you probably can't see this very well, but last year we had 4,211 capped properties. This year we have 4,299 properties. We have our resource assessment here. That one is up by 10.89 this year, kind of a big jump. Last year it was 2.77. And then we have our commercial assessment here. And we are seeing a 7.98% increase. And last year we had actually seen a decrease of approximately 1%. So if you look at our overall, down here, overall our taxes are up by 7.98%. And and last year it was about 4.74. So we are seeing a little bit bigger numbers this year. If you look down here, it gives you sort of a total of what each category is going to be. And our total revenue just from taxes are going to be just over $9 million, 9.6. And we will be seeing an additional amount of revenue of $704,016, I guess you can put that in there. Last year, we actually had additional revenue of $384. So we are seeing approximately double what we had seen last year. It'll make it just slightly easier when trying to balance. We are seeing some things. I know it's early yet, but we have seen, of course, the cost of living is up by 2.1%. I have been starting to populate any numbers that we do know. So we're probably down about 100,000, I'm going to say, like we're using of this already. So just keep that in mind. It does seem like a big number, but with a few increases or a few additions, it doesn't take long to get through that. So does anybody have any questions when they look at these numbers? Hopefully you can see them on your own computer screen better than this one.
Yeah, I can see the numbers there. I do have a question. It's probably not about the numbers directly, but there you can see that the assessed value year on year this time around is pretty much above the average of the last few years. And I had some residents complain about that, and I explained to them like how the PVSC process works and all that. Did the PVSC provide any rationale behind the overall increase this year? It doesn't look like the real estate market is particularly different from previous years. If anything, it looks actually slower. So I kind of, when trying to explain this, I really don't have anything to say. I really can't explain.
Yeah, it gets kind of complicated, but they're not real-time numbers. They do go back in time a bit. So when people do start seeing the market go stagnant, it's because it's from a year ago. So there was a bit more of a boom a year ago. So last year, if you had a look at these numbers and you've seen the type of things, like our de-transfer tax was still ranked quite a bit higher last year than it is this year. So now that it's starting to slow down, you're going to see those changes. But they do constantly look at building permits and what people are spending and what it looks like in each neighborhood and what properties are selling for. So it is a kind of a harder one to explain to property owners, because each place in each community is a little bit different on how they're going to look at it. I think their best bet would be probably to call them directly and get something, if they're looking, try to find something that's similar to yours and some rationale on what it might look like for difference in assessment.
Yeah, well, I think it would be a good thing to have is whenever they send their assessments, to also issue a little report for the municipalities, explaining like what they observed in the market. So at least you have a sense of what's behind the increase, right? Because I guess every municipality has the same problem, right? Residents see the increase, and then they start talking to their councilors, to their municipal offices, and say, "Hey, well, why did I get this increase? I don't, you know, I don't see that reflected in the market," and so on. I don't know if it's something that we could ask from them, or just food for thought there, because it would save us a little bit of.
Peter, it's never done, it's always behind. When those assessments come out, they're 2 years or maybe 3 years behind. So even if stuff was down this year and it was up 2 years ago, it still goes up.
Right.
The other thing is, you gotta remember, the assessment is a private entity. And I always tell people when they call me that they need to call the assessment people. They can appeal. And because we have no control, and I don't think they'll give us a big breakdown. They may say overall this is this, because there's too many homes in all municipalities. So it has to, you know, it's like.
I think if they can, like, they don't need to give us like a huge breakdown, but hey, here are the three main drivers. That's it, right? Could be a one pager, because the PVSC is a private corporation. We have no control over them, but in the end, we benefit from the increase that they assess, right? So whenever they assess a particularly high increase, from the point of view of the resident, is look at that, the councilors are all happy because now the municipality is making more money, and they can spend on stuff, and and then people start like become cynical sometimes, but the total result of this, that the municipal machine here is making more money out of this assessment that they conveniently don't control. And, so that's the only thing I want to kind of cool down when someone comes to complain. Yeah.
Well, you also want to explain to them we have not put ours up, even though I think we're about the only municipality that hasn't put it up, and we're working with Ian because everything else has gone up.
Yeah.
And and I find if you explain this is the way it has been, and go look online for other things, and like I said, tell them to go to the assessment people. That's the best answer for anybody, so they know what's going on. But I appreciate what you're saying, and we can ask, but I'm not expecting a lot from them.
No, it's a suggestion there. I don't know if others have the same issue that I have had a few times, but just dropping the idea there.
Okay, we can ask.
Mm-hmm.
George.
Is there any appetite out there for a decrease in the rates? I know we haven't changed them for
18, 19 years.
What would a center to make the dollar back?
You'd probably end up putting it up the next year because everything's going up. That's the problem.
So we got some healthy increases too, and we don't have any big huge debt.
We'll look at the budget, then we can see what we can cut.
No, I just wondered if there was any.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can look at the budget, see what we can cut, but you got to remember, when you lose a service, it's not going to be coming back.
I think one thing too, like the increased assessment allows us to keep the tax rate the same.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of units, like some of our adjacent units, even with the increases, they're still raising their tax rate because the costs, we're in an environment where costs are increasing at such a rate that they can't keep up. So we're fortunate that we're financially healthy enough that with the increases alone in assessments, we're able to keep pace.
Yeah.
But yeah, every year we look at the budget. What we've been doing recently with any surplus or any extra money is we're trying to maintain a better asset management plan. So we're trying to save more money in our capital reserves because it takes a long time to catch up over the many years that we should have been saving a lot more than we were. So yeah, but I mean, when we present the budget information, we can look at that and see where we're at, once expenses are accounted for.
But you also want to remember, tax rates are different and in different ends of our municipality. Like you guys,
Oh, yeah.
you're a village, you pay more. Brighton and Barton, they pay more for their tax, for their fire tax. You know, everybody's a little different anyway, just so you know. But yeah, I mean, I think we look at it every year, but every year,
And to Linda's
Yeah.
point, we have to be very confident that it's a long-term reduction
Yeah.
because we don't want to be reducing it and then a year or two later, now we need to increase it because our expenses have raised. If we can do it long-term and make that decision, I think it's a good one, but we have to be sure.
that's what's scary.
Okay.
Any other questions? So, Peter, do you want to make a motion for us to send a letter to the?
I think even staff direction is.
Oh, staff direction.
We have contacts at PBSC where we get our information.
Okay. Thank you. Well, there. The next is Harvest of Hope Food Pantry, and they're asking for a community grant, and they have filled it out. And
So do we move that to a community grant?
I would think so, but or do we look at it now?
You can look at it now if you want. I think their intent is to submit a grant for next year as well, but they noticed that we're still accepting grants for this fiscal year. And as
Okay.
you guys know, we do have a bit of money. Corley can tell you the exact amount, but we have a little bit of money left between now and the end of March. So
We actually just have just over 4,000.
Well, I can tell you, I know they're providing food to a lot of families, and they're helping out.
And if you want to know, for this fiscal year, for food security, we provided $1,500 to Annapolis Valley Group of Moms, $2,500 to the Bear River Community Kitchen, $2,500 to the Calvary Temple Livewell Church, $2,000 to the Digby Area Food Bank, $3,000 to the Rural Communities Foundation, that Zero Hunger program, $500 to the Seniors Program, and $1,500 to the St. Mary's Bay Baptist Church, which is the Harvest of Hope Food Pantry. Not all that money is entirely for food, but we spent approximately $14,000 this fiscal year on food security, if you're aware.
That's good to know. How do people think or feel? I would like to see if it's possible for us to give them like at least half or a little better, 2,500.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to give Harvest of Hope Food Pantry $2,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Now discussion. Oh, I heard something.
I'm all for, if it's helping out the people that need it.
Actually, I've been asked by them to sit down and have a meeting. They want to show me some stuff that they're doing.
Don't we usually require a little more as far as expenses and stuff like that? I mean, they didn't include any budget or expense form, did they?
They showed that they had a $500 donation.
Yeah.
And I think that's all the money they have.
They usually give it all to
Yeah.
when they have most of it at their house and they transport back all over the place. So,
Yeah, I don't, but we can ask for the future that we'd like to see a budget.
Well, like I said, I think they're submitting another grant application for next fiscal, so we can certainly tell them.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. The next is the Digby Home and Lifestyle Expo. Okay. They're talking about the info sheet, the booth contract, the sponsorship opportunities. I know last year we did this. It's at the end of May, and isn't the FCM around then, or am I off?
No, it typically is. I don't know the exact date, but it's typically right around
I would be here. They changed the date last year from June now to May. I would be here.
Yeah, for me, I don't know how late. I should be good and running by then, but
And just to remind you, this is the one that council has the booth.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
So
a
it's open to
council
you have
works
to make
it.
sure you cover all the shifts and everything.
Yeah. But I need to know when the FCM is and stuff, because,
I feel like the FCM might have been a week into June. I feel like it was like June 5th this year, but I could be wrong. Like, can you quickly?
I remember being into May because you told me quarterly would be gone.
That's CAMA, which is a week before
yeah.
FCM.
Sorry,
oh, okay,
too many.
maybe that's,
Taylor's gonna work on it. Let's see what the date
June
is.
4th to 7th.
June 4th to 7th.
okay,
Edmonton.
and that's at Edmonton.
We'll be here.
Okay, so, what do you, I've forgotten what they said the booth cost. $300 or 100 square foot, and that's what we had last year was 100 square foot?
So,
Okay. So how are councilors feeling, May 30th and 31st?
I can be there.
I can't commit right now.
Yeah, I can probably make it this year.
And I can try. So what we may have is a few long shifts. And it's for Saturday and Sunday. 30th, I can't even remember the dates anymore. 30th is a Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday and Sunday, a shorter time on Sunday. And I know that we also did a little prize that people could fill out. That had bring them to the booth.
And we have a few more handout sort of stuff, like some coastlines and that kind of thing are
Yeah.
available, and maybe some brochures or whatever, so that people will stop and engage.
Yeah.
More and ask questions.
That's a good idea to come on. Because I'm sure there's several older ones around the last year. Okay, so do we have a motion to say that we will attend? Council will be attending the May 30th and 31st of the expo. I need a motion, yeah, that we will get a booth and attend it.
I'll move that we fund the booth and we'd be home for Lifestyle Expo on May 31st.
There a seconder? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Motion carried. The next is Brinley Town Cemetery. As you read in the letter, they would like to see us do a monument.
So I had Chris look into this and provide me with some information. My comment on this would be that we have a lot of cemeteries in our municipality. So I would encourage you to think about setting a precedent and whether this is something we want to start doing or not. But I had Chris look into it.
We have at least 56 cemeteries in the municipality, and those are only ones that are registered. There's probably much more than that. I looked into it, and the graveyard is owned by the African Baptist Church Cemetery Trustee. There's absolutely no information of them online. But in 2025, they signed an easement to Nova Scotia Power, and the individual who signed it was Ben Elms, who used to be the vice principal.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is something we want to move forward with, I'm assuming he would be the main contact we would talk to. I talked to Rob Lucy about what kind of price this would be, and it varies. At the very least, you're looking at $5,000 for something small, and then you're looking exponential from there on how large you want to go. Mr. Hersey recommended that if we were going to move forward with this, we would have to do a lot of community engagement. You'd want to make sure that you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. The cemetery, as a lot of you know, is quite old, and besides mowing, a lot of the headstones have sunk or disappeared. Rob is quite confident, based on previous talks a couple of decades ago, that a lot of the graves there are unmarked. So we have to pay respect to that. So short of giving you a rough price of $5,000 to start with and moving up from there, and letting you know that we have at least 56 cemeteries in the municipality.
And we could encourage the group, like the actual association or the group, to maybe submit a grant application request or some financial assistance towards it. I don't know if this is one individual that's just looking to start the initiative, or if Ben Elms in the group would be interested or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of agree. If we've got 56 cemeteries, and I mean, I know both home, I don't know if we can count one of them.
Probably not.
And the same as, like, even in Centerville, there's 2 or 3, and I don't know how many are really counted.
I've been in the woods in Centerville, and I've stumbled across tombstones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Maybe that's the best way to go, is to ask them to look at the grants, see what we can do that way.
I'm wondering if she has even taken this maybe to JACA or something, to see if it's something they would be interested in getting involved or taking on.
Possible.
That's where I would go with it. I think you need a special group.
Yeah, but I
Like, you need
think,
an organized group, and
yeah, but you would have to go through Mr. Elms first.
Yeah.
Before you even suggest going to, I wouldn't want us to sleep.
You would want to make a suggestion on his behalf.
if it was an organized group that was doing a project, they needed X amount of money left over to get it finished, they went to the community grants, that's one thing. It's a big project for us to take on, because we'd have to do 56 more. I've had to turn.
Oh, yeah, because I want you to show.
Myself.
Mhm.
I wanted the same thing.
And then there's the after, like, once it gets restored, somebody has to look after it.
And I mean, right now we're working on one in Barton, and Veterans Affairs just turned it down. So for them to come to us with a community grant ask, and we gave them $2,500, where's that going to sit? Because it's not enough to do a monument, and it's just lost money. And then they'll come back, and they'll come back, and they'll come back, and well, then they'll have 56 cemeteries doing the same thing. Because I'd like to see the veterans one in Barton not completed first. We put money aside for that. Then Veterans Affairs said no. I think that's where it sets. That's what Rob's report says. But hopefully we can try again and get it done. But that would be the only monument I've seen 10 years get done.
So that.
Could I get a motion to send a response letter?
I'll make a motion to send a response letter to Ms. Blaine or
Or Mr. Brownell.
Why, it wasn't him who reached out, it was a Maureen Turner.
Well, would we send it to both?
No, I would say just the person.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. I wanted to add a couple of things to the agenda, and I didn't get here in time. And there's 2 things that I wanted. And one is I'd like to have a letter sent to Mr. Kelly or Grant Thornton, who has been promoted to manager of the Digby Grant Thornton branch. And I mean, he does most of our stuff here. I just think it'd be nice to send him a congratulatory letter.
Yeah.
And if so, could we have someone?
And we send a congratulatory letter to Aaron Kelly.
I was just gonna say, we already have 4.5 that was added before you came. But
Oh,
we can skip back to that.
okay, sorry.
Okay, I think there's a motion.
And is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, 4.5, I don't know what.
So that's the dark letter of support that's on your desktop.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, Dark is gonna apply for some funding, and they're looking just for a letter of support towards it.
I'll make a motion to send a letter of support to Dart for the grant application they're working on to improve the playground.
We don't have a lot of time. They need it by the 13th. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next, under correspondence, the RCMP commanding officer's retirement. And I again would like to see us send a congratulations, or however you do it, or good luck in your retirement, or you know, some sort of something respectful sent on. So what does council think?
Sure.
So could I have a motion that we send a,
I'll move that we send a letter. I guess we send it to RCMP Nova Scotia. Do we?
well, he's retiring, so.
I think we actually have his email address, so we can send it directly to him.
Oh, okay. To Dennis Daly, congratulating him on his retirement.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. And then we got a thank you from the Zero Hunger Fund. Any comments or questions? Okay. The next, we will go to committee reports. Then we will start. How about with you, Peter, since you're having so much fun over there?
Yeah. Sure. So just so we're not going by committee, we're going by person. So I'll do.
Sorry. Never mind. I apologize. I was in my other world of council.
Oh, okay. All right. I could do that too. Like it's feasible too.
That's me being bad. Okay.
I will say, speaking of that, I'm not entirely satisfied with our new format where we go through the list. So I'm trying to think of tweaks to it again. We weren't satisfied before, so we started doing this, and now it's still not because half the time it's we haven't met yet or whatever. So we're still trying to play with it to see what we can do.
All right. So maybe we can say, let's try something different. All right, Peter, anything you want to talk about? Any of your committees?
Yeah, sure. So let me just go through my list here. So fences and arbitration, there was no activity as usual. Planning and advisory committee, I think we didn't meet since the last report. We should be meeting soon, right? Digby Development Agency, I think we didn't meet since the last report either. The Municipal Fire Association, same thing. So I think the only relevant one, and I'm not 100% sure which one it falls into. There was this more activity regarding harvesting of in the forestry industry, right? So in my first communications, I heard the Western Regional Enterprise Network, but I think this would fall into the scope of the Western Region Crown Land Stakeholder Interaction Committee, right? So finally, there's some activity going on there, and what we had in the last few weeks was a meeting between all the different municipalities and stakeholders of the of who harvest in Crown lands, and what they were doing there was explaining how the system is going to work now for the community to give feedback and how what's the pipeline for applications of new harvesting proposals. And it's pretty interesting. At least there's something that is structured, that is more transparent, and there's still some tweaking to do there. But now there's a group that is pretty active there. We have a shared folder with material that is being updated constantly. There are a few platforms with maps and the Crown Lands areas, and then whenever there's some application to harvest on one of them, that lights up on the map, and people can go there, click on it, put some comments. I already used it to put comments on behalf of some residents that were worried about harvesting applications in the Acacia Valley. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's working good. Let's see how it works in the long term. It's a very good one. That's the only major activity on my committees here, and that's about it on my side.
Thank you very much. George,
I'll just run down some of my committees. Heritage Advisory, we haven't met since Christmas time. Digby Art Bank will be meeting soon. I think the end of January was the closing for the submissions. Digby Library, we finally had a meeting, and it was good. They talked about some renovations, make it more accessible for a drop off. Was there anything else, Tyler, that you were?
No, the key was essentially they had an accessibility audit done about a year ago, so they finally got the report. So it was to discuss essentially like what's the provincial responsibility, they own the building, what's ours and the town's responsibility. As George mentioned, they had items like the drop box, which is way too high and not accessible at all. So it was trying to work through each little issue that we got to figure out.
Okay, that was the Digby Library. Senior Safety, we didn't meet since the last time in November, December. Tideview Terrace, we had a meeting in January with our new head of staff there leading the way. She's getting right into it.
is there going to be a retirement for Deborah, or
There wasn't anything mentioned about it, but I would think there'd be something coming up.
Okay.
Western Counties Regional Library, we haven't had a meeting since our last one in December. That's it.
Okay. Matthew.
The Digby Area Recreation Commission, working with Tri-County Regional School Board on use of community theater. Sharon has reached out to Jared Purdy, Jennifer Tebow, Joe Balser on revitalizing the agreement on community use of schools. Talks are so far positive. She's also proposed a 50-50 cost sharing agreement for the plowing and maintaining of the parking lot as employees of the school utilize the parking lot every day. Sharon has been approached by members of the Jordan Dam community to help find funding to revitalize the ball field in Conway. Volunteer Week is fast approaching and will be held in April. If anyone knows of someone who's shown exemplary volunteer skills in their community, please contact Cindy at the rink to acknowledge them in this year's presentations. The only other meeting I had was with the Digby Harbor Port Authority. Chisholm has been working hard to coordinate meetings with the federal and provincial officials the past few months. The team met with MP Christy Entremont recently on the vision to install a new wharf. Minister Joe Balser and Malika Spencer from NSFM were down to present the Community's Challenge Fund check of $600,000, which the warden spoke at and was attended by myself and Councillor Ross. Ed has also presented in front of this council in the town of Digby. The group is hoping to get a meeting in Ottawa with MP Christy Entremont and delegates. Recently, CBC came to town and reported on this, and you can find it on cbc.ca under discussion.
Thank you. Joe.
Let's see. Digby Housing has not met, but we've agreed that we won't meet monthly. We'll meet when there's a need to meet, when something new has come up or there's something new to present on. So there is no fixed date for that right now. I'm on the Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, but I'm not sure there's even a committee.
There is.
Is there?
That's all it was.
Does it ever meet?
Well, when I was on it, we used to meet.
Meet quarterly, yeah.
Could we maybe
Maybe,
follow up on that and just see?
Maybe it's the phone.
yeah, because it was it's the protection of the wells and,
So I'm just thinking where we've had a drought and we still have not.
yeah.
And that's
Probably,
So
Maybe
you
it's
would
good.
have had one by
Yeah.
they should have.
Because
Well,
it's like,
I just thought I would mention that.
I'll look at it.
it's like PAC. We may not have something on the table, but we would meet quarterly just to go over bylaws and review stuff. Like, that's an odd one to me.
We
They should have,
not had.
because when I was on it, that's what she was doing with us. We just was reading material and going over it. Like, yeah, maybe they thought you shouldn't, but I think you have to. It's policy.
I agree.
Digby area tourism has not met, but we have tentatively set the AGM date for May 14th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And the other one I sit on is Waste Check, and they just met this morning. And one of the things actually that came out of that was about the green cards, and some of the communities actually have bylaws relevant to green cards and how long they're allowed to be left out after delivery pickup and that sort of.
I know we have something, but it's not like I brought up about I see carts left out the side. Now there's giving a storm tomorrow. And I suspect when I make my drive, there'll be still carts sitting out there. Like, I can understand if they're off, but some of these are right on the side. The plow, and I mean, it's not the plow's responsibility, but who in the end pays for that damage? Should it be the taxpayers or should it be the person who has the cart? I mean, I agree there's circumstances, maybe you're disabled and you're waiting for someone to come, but there's also people, they wait for 4 or 5 days before they bother to bring it in. Yes, sir?
However, I will argue that when they come and pick it up, most people keep it off the road. I've seen when the garbage man picks it up, they leave it on the road. And that's not fair either.
Well, yeah, but your responsibility is to move it after they're done with it.
I know.
And you have up to 24 hours, I believe it is. I'd have to check that policy. But I think we need to check those policies anyway. I think we need to look at a couple of those things.
And maybe when you're periodically to remind people that the green cards need to be taken in, and maybe remind them how much a green card costs.
Yeah, I would suggest that. So we did look at the solid waste bylaw a couple years ago, and you're right. I don't have it memorized, but it does speak to that. But I would suggest it's an education issue, because even if our policy was within 12 hours, it's just Richie phoning them and telling them what the rule is. So I would suggest that at your next waste check meeting, it's worth brought up today that they should be pushing more education that we can share with our residents if it's becoming an
And
issue.
you could have a brochure at our booth.
There you go.
Yeah. Yes, because, but they're saying a lot of it's through the municipality, so it's the municipality.
Well, it's our bylaw.
Yeah.
So it's our bylaw we're enforcing, but they can come up with material share that we pay
And put
with
it even in our post line.
exactly
Yeah,
website.
okay. I will talk to us and Amy.
Because waste check is our education arm of solid waste, so we need to use them as a resource.
Okay. The other thing that was discussed at Waste Check, of course, was the EPR. See, I got that right. And circular materials. Like there's concern that Digby Municipality didn't have a depot for drop-off for the stuff that goes into another bag now. But we were informed by Chris that they are looking at it in Digby, so which made everybody happy. That we're looking at a container.
Yeah, 20-foot sea can.
So,
That's circular materials.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's all paid for them, but we need a place to put it. And a little bit about education was talked about. And of course they had a summer student, a co-op student there this year. His name was Seth Nickerson. He completed his hours from October to December. Very well liked, did a great job. So, which was nice to hear. The other thing that was brought up is the illegal dumping, the collection issues. And as Gus says, you know, when they have a lot of problems, they call the municipalities. Municipalities go for their contractors, and everything's great for 2 or 3 months, and then it's back again. So, again, they were saying that perhaps maybe at meetings, we should be bringing up, like Joan and I saying about the green cards and saying about the blue bags. And I think that's something that we'll be putting in our reports at the end of the month. Because I think they're right. It's education and people hearing. That's the way to go. The other thing was I met yesterday with the executive of the Fire Association, just to ask some questions and did some discussion. You know, just they're trying to see what's happening with all the changes coming down. So it was a very informative, light meeting. I mean, they weren't coming down on anything. They just wanted to have some questions answered. The other thing was the Digby area recreation, which Matt has already spoke about. And what I do want to say, they had a jamboree on the weekend on Saturday, and it was for all the, I'm going to call them Timbits. There's a name for them, but I don't know, something to 7 or 7U or it means nothing to me. Okay, but they came from all over the province, and Dark, the board, most of us went in and did an hour, like Paul did timekeeping. Mike was selling. You were selling, wasn't it?
No, I can make it in. I'm going.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone else. Oh, it's Scooter. I'll never get that man's name right. And I was selling, and they did 3 draws of 50-50. But the kids came from all over. It was a really nice, what they call jamboree. They also had over the curling club for in between. Kids could go over there and play some games, and they had a sucker pull. You paid $1 for the sucker to help with a fun little fundraiser as well. So I thought that it was nice that Cindy, on behalf of minor hockey, had reached out, and most of us, I think, well, Maria was there, but I apologize. I really thought you were there, so don't know.
No, I
It
didn't make it this
she
far.
was telling me who was there in the early morning, and I was there in the late afternoon as usual.
We used to do the jamboree a lot. Lucas was there too.
Oh yeah. So, and then the Fire Association does have a meeting upcoming. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was people are concerned with the closures at our hospital for the ER, which I told them has nothing to do with us. It's provincial. But they're still concerned that they think if this keeps closing, will they close the hospital? Which I told them that it doesn't work that way, but I understand people's concern. So I thought I would mention that tonight because, you know, it's out there. They're concerned. And, oh yes, and the other thing is the Southwest Biosphere meeting has been changed to March 18th. And my surgery is now on March the 6th. So you will be running the meetings from that next Monday. I will be on.
Oh, okay.
I'll be here, but just over there where Peter is.
All right.
So instead of Peter, it will be me. And yeah, and my goal is to try to get back as soon as I can to go to meetings. So I assume that covers everything and everybody. Oh, I do want to say something. I forgot. I had a resident come up to me And I really thought I was going to get some grief. Okay? They said, I'd like to talk to you. And I said, okay. And they said, I just want to tell you something. And I said, okay. They said, it's about your counselors. Okay. They said, we have found that this council is so forward thinking and for the betterment of the municipality that I want to thank you. That isn't what I was expecting, guys. It really wasn't. And
Good to hear. Good news once in a while.
I thought it was really nice, and there was a couple other people standing there, and they got talking, and they discussed various things. The biggest thing was they thought we were doing a good job, and they mentioned about our staff and how great the staff were. That was the other thing I heard. Never heard a thing about the CAO though, just the front office staff.
Why not staff?
I'm sure that, yeah. No, but the comment was, you come into this building, you don't feel like you're wasting their time, that they're looking after you, they're trying, and they said, that, it was just, it was a nice accolade to hear about us, because usually it's the other way around.
So thank you to our staff for making us look good.
Yeah.
Well, they think we look good too, because they think, it's all part and parcel. But if you don't have a happy environment, it's right. You're not going to have happy people coming in.
Yeah.
Now, is there any in camera? All right. So would someone like to adjourn the meeting?
To adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.